Hi, welcome to a Japan travelogue in March-April 2024. We landed into Tokyo at Haneda Airport. It was daytime, and of course, being the cherry blossom season, the airport was extremely crowded. And anyway, we passed through immigration. It took a long time at immigration. And we finally headed out into the city after sunset and were mesmerized by the lights and the cityscape of Tokyo. It was just amazing. We had reserved a hotel in the district of Ginza, and we were so tired, finally checked into the hotel and into our rooms. Now mind you, most of the hotel rooms in Tokyo are small, so you hardly have any space for your baggage, but the complimentary pajamas and the slippers kind of made up for it. And so did the famous Japanese toilets. Sitting on a warm toilet seat, you can browse through the operating instructions of all the gadgets. We started our day one in Tokyo by visiting Tokyo's oldest temple, which was completed in 645, Sensoji Shrine. It is a Buddhist temple located in Asakusa and is Tokyo's most colorful and popular temples. A shopping street of over 200 meters called Nakamise leads from the outer gate to the temple's second gate, the Hozomon. Alongside typical Japanese souvenirs such as yukata and folding fans, various traditional local snacks from the Asakusa area are sold along the Nakamise. Legend has it that in the year 628, two brothers fished a statue of Kannon, the goddess of mercy, out of the Sumida river, and even though they put the statue back into the river, it always returned to them. Consequently, Sensoji was built nearby for the goddess of Kannon. Even though it was drizzling, we did manage to get a glimpse of the local Japanese theatre, which was being performed in the grounds of the shrine.
Imperial Garden, right? Yes, over there. From. Okay, just move.
And onwards, we took a cab to the Imperial Gardens. It was cold, windy and wet, and we had to walk a lot to get to the gates. But then I guess you have to walk a lot in Japan anywhere. The Imperial Palace East Gardens are part of the inner palace area and open to the public. They are a former site of Edo Castle's innermost circles of defense. None of the main buildings remain today, but the moats, walls, entrance gates and several guardhouses still exist, along with the cherry blossom which was just started blooming. This is the Tokyo station. This is the Ramen street, and we are at the famous shop street where there are about 8 noodle shops, and we had to wait in the queue. We actually had to buy the food first to get the receipts, and then stand in queue. So everybody who comes to Tokyo comes to this street to have ramen. So it's very, very famous. Taking video. Early morning, we head out to the nearby Shimbashi station to catch the JR network train to Ueno station. Just type in the station name at the automated ticket machine, put in the coins, and you get your ticket. Ueno Park, a large public park in central Tokyo, is famous for its many museums, the Ueno Zoo, the Kanneji Temple, which used to be one of the city's largest and wealthiest temples, and a family temple of the ruling Tokugawa clan during the Edo period. The Ueno Park is also famous for its lineup of more than 1,000 cherry trees in its central pathway. Unfortunately, they had not started blooming yet, but it attracts a large number of picnic parties called Hanami. Back to a hotel in Ginza, and if you like shopping high-end brands, so this is the place. Our next stop is the Meiji Shrine, which is dedicated to the Emperor Meiji, who was the first emperor of modern Japan. Located just beside the Harajuku station, the Meiji Shrine and the adjacent Yoyogi Park make up a large forested area within the densely built-up city. The shrine was completed and dedicated to the emperor and the Empress Shokin in 1920. It was destroyed during the war but was rebuilt shortly thereafter. Meiji Jingu is one of Japan's most popular shrines. In the first days of the new year, the shrine regularly welcomes more than 3 million visitors for the year's first prayers, more than any other shrine or temple in the country. Clap twice, then you bow once after. And during the rest of the year, traditional Shinto weddings can often be seen taking place here. We were lucky to have witnessed one. After the amazing experience of Meiji Jingu, we headed off to our next destination. As we walked from the train station, we witnessed some amazing anonymous art project and a robot store. The extremely popular Nezu Museum has a diverse and extensive collection featuring over 7,600 Japanese and East Asian pre-modern works of art. While at the museum, a must-see for any visitor is the Nezu Museum's garden. It has these small ponds, tea house, stone lanterns and ancient artifacts, which is really worth a watch. Our next stop is, of course, Tokyo's most popular attraction, the Shibuya Scramble Square, which is next to the Shibuya station. Just next to the station is, of course, the legendary Hachiko Square, which is dedicated to the dog Hachiko. Lunch, we decided to try the delicious Japanese tempura. If you want to go on top of the Shibuya Sky Tower, you need to book your tickets in advance, because when we reached there, the tickets were all sold out. So to drown our sorrows, we indulged in some delectable Japanese sweets. Oh, they were amazing. Next, we headed to the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building, number 1, which has the projection mapping shows. This is one of the most popular tourist attractions again in Tokyo. The projection mapping blends light and sound on a dynamic canvas on the facade of its main building. It currently runs every night from 7 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. on weeknights and from 7 p.m. to 9:10 p.m. on weekends. So it's basically a free show. You can stand below the building, or they have a viewing area from where you can see the projection mapping. After a long, fulfilling day, we headed back to our hotel. The next day, we took a bus tour to see the iconic Mount Fuji of Japan. We, of course, could not see anything because the weather was really bad. So this is just proof that she has landed in Japan. We took a short stopover at Oshino Hakai, which is a must-visit tourist spot located in the Minamitsuru district of Japan. This picturesque village is famous for its 8 crystal clear spring ponds, which are fed by the melting snow from Mount Fuji. After lunch, we headed for the Hakone ropeway. The ropeway connects Sumzan station with the Togendai station at the shore of Lake Ashinogo. The ropeway gondola takes you over Hakone, and you can spot Mount Fuji in the distance if the weather is clear. And then finally we board a pirate-style ship which takes you back to the town area. The Hakone pirate ships are sightseeing cruise ships built as replicas of pirate ships. The large and splendid ships have attracted people's attention and are quite popular. The route runs across Lake Ashi and connects 3 ports. With a slight drizzle on, we stop over at Hakone Jinja. No journey in Japan is complete without a ride on the bullet train. The cities of Tokyo and Kyoto are linked to each other by the JR Tokaido Shinkansen line. A one-way trip from Tokyo to Kyoto on a Kodama or a Hikari train costs approximately 13,800 yen for a reserved seat, but is completely free with a JR pass. Remember, silence on Japan trains is highly appreciated. We cover a distance of about 450 kilometers in 2 hours. There is a designated queue area for English-speaking cab drivers, but generally most cab drivers in Japan understand English. We finally check into our hotel, Sotetsu Fraser Inn in Kyoto. One of the best ways to travel in Kyoto is to take the local bus. They connect you to all the major tourist destinations in the city, and we arrive at the Nijo Castle. The Nijo Castle was built in 1603 as the Kyoto residence of Tokugawa Ieyasu, the first shogun of the Edo period. After the Tokugawa shogunate fell in 1867, Nijo Castle was used as an imperial palace for a while before being donated to the city and opened up to the public as a historic site. Its palace buildings are arguably the best surviving examples of castle palace architecture of Japan's feudal era, and the castle was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994. Going back to the hotel, we practice queuing up at the designated spots. Then we headed out for lunch at this cute Hawaiian restaurant called Eggs and Things. In the evening, we head out to the most famous shrine in the Gion area, which is the Yasaka Shrine. The colorful shrine is a popular spot for tourists, and its street-facing 2-storied vermilion gate is a district landmark. Bang opposite the gates of the shrine is the most happening street of Kyoto. It's filled with shops and restaurants, and you have these fake food displays basically to entice you into a restaurant. And one of Kyoto city's most famous streets, Hanami Koji, is situated in the Gion district. This historic area harkens back to the Japan of yesteryear with its traditional wooden merchant houses and quaint ochaya or tea houses. It's also Kyoto's most famous geisha district. Early morning on day 5, we head out to the Arashiyama bamboo path. This bamboo grove is one of Kyoto's top sites. Just walking through the forest and standing in it gives you a sublime feeling of oneness. I think It is unlike any other normal forest that we know of. I strongly advise you to come as early as possible, maybe 6 in the morning. You not only get that perfect light for your photographs, but you also avoid the crowds. After the bamboo grove, we headed back down to the Arashiyama station, and it was a nice little walk. At one of the stations, we were kind of lost looking for the subway, and we were helped by this interactive console. So, after a quick breakfast at the hotel, we collected our subway pass and headed out to one of Kyoto's most popular shrines. Fushimi Inari is the most important of several thousands of shrines dedicated to Inari, the Shinto god of rice. Foxes are thought to be Inari's messengers, resulting in many fox statues across the shrine grounds. Fushimi Inari Shrine has ancient origins, predating the capital's move to Kyoto in 794. At the very back of the shrine's main grounds is the entrance to the Torii gate-covered hiking trail, which starts with two dense parallel rows of gates called Shenbon Torii, thousands of Torii gates. The Torii gates along the entire trail are donations by individuals and companies, and you will find the donator's name and the date of the donation inscribed on the back of each gate. Moving on to our next stop, Kinkakuji Temple. Kinkakuji, or the Golden Pavilion, has its top two floors completely covered in gold leaf. It's really an impressive structure, but it was burned down twice during the Onin War and once again more recently in 1950 when it was set on fire by a fanatic monk. So we spent the rest of the day taking in the sights and sounds of this amazingly beautiful city. We ended the day with the Naked Sakura Festival, a projection mapping show of sound and light at the Nijo Castle. That's the palace, the Kyoto Imperial Palace, and we are going to the Kyoto Imperial Palace. Early morning on day 6, we decided to witness the cherry blossom blooming at the Imperial Palace Gardens. After a quick breakfast, we checked out from the hotel and headed towards the Kyoto station to catch our bullet train again back to Tokyo. As we approached the Yokohama International Passenger Terminal, we could see our home for the next 10 days. This was a 10-day cruise on the Diamond Princess, which was to take us to most of the major towns and cities in Japan. We are setting sail from Yokohama. So this is the day 1. Since we were at sea on day 2, we decided to attend the art auction, which was a very familiar event on the Princess Cruiseliners.
Aesthetics, accolades, explosion.
We arrive at the port of Nagasaki. It is a Japanese city on the northwest coast of the island of Kyushu. It's set on a large natural harbor with buildings on the terraces of surrounding hills. It is of course synonymous with a key moment during World War II after suffering an Allied nuclear attack in August 1945. We head out first to the Nagasaki Peace Park, which is a tranquil space that commemorates the atomic bombing on August 9, 1945. It destroyed a significant portion of the city and killed tens of thousands of inhabitants. The complex is comprised of 2 parks and a memorial museum. The Hypocenter Park has a simple black monolith that marks the explosion's epicenter. On the hill above the Hypocenter Park stands the sobering Nagasaki Atomic Bomb Museum, with the mission to inform future generations about the horror of war. Only one of the 2 gate pillars of the Sano Shinto shrine remains standing to this day. The other fell because of the explosion. We then made our way to the Fuchi Jinja station to take the ropeway to go to the observatory, which is located at the summit of Mount Inasa. It is very popular as a spot to enjoy beautiful views of the Nagasaki city. So after a tiring day at Nagasaki city, we head back to the ship, connect with our Wi-Fi at the dock terminus, and say goodbye to Nagasaki.